was right. I was fucking right. I'm not trying to start this video off all cocky and annoying, I promise. I was just genuinely so worried during the first half of episode 5's runtime that I had made myself look like a fucking idiot, and I just made that last video way too soon. I spoke very, very confidently last time I made one of these, and luckily I was right. They did have me go in there for a second. Even though I was very suspicious of Maddie entirely. Like I said in my last video, it doesn't really have any reason to keep these kids alive, so why the fuck would Maddie and Phil have been alive anyway? But they really make you think for a second, like maybe for some reason that's what's happening here. Thank God it wasn't. Fuck. But yes, I'm back so soon. I wasn't even planning on making another one of these at all. There's actually 2 other videos that I should definitely be working on right now instead, but I'm not for some reason. For any viewers who've been around in this channel already, don't worry, this isn't just like the only thing I do now. I just kind of wanted to switch up the type of content I make, you know? Give it something new every single time instead of just doing like a big video essay or video game review. Sometimes a motherfucker just has to get on camera and complain. But I've made a short list of things that I still want to complain about, since this show is, by the time you're seeing this, probably episode 7's probably out by now, or at least about to be out. It's almost over is what I'm saying. But let's just go over some more of these complaints before the show wraps up and we truly see what everything's been building to, and we can finally see that just about all of the fan theories were fucking terrible and wrong. The first one I'm going to talk about real quick is obviously Phil and Teddy. The fuck? Wait. I just got, what is that? I just got like a OneDrive notification on my computer that was like Jerry Seinfeld just going... What? So I was right about Phil and Teddy being dead, and Maddie as well, obviously, because I kind of assumed that was just one that made sense to everybody. But apparently there was people who thought that he might be alive because we don't directly see him die, even though you see that little bat baby creature thing fly directly into his fucking cranium, and then a bink that looks like it has blood on it comes flying out the fucking window and goes like 15 feet through the air. Like, yeah, I'm sure he's fine. But of course in the show they reveal that all of them have been dead that whole time. It's all done in this magnificent Pennywise reveal that they finally waited so long to do, and it was perfect. I'll talk about that later too, because some people are mad about how long that took, of course. And then in that same scene we see all of the kids' bodies. They're fucking right there dead, and dude, I swear to God, when this scene happened, I stood up and fist bumped the fucking air. I was celebrating like my team just won a football game or something over the fact that 2 or 3 kids have been fucking dead the whole time. But people are still delusional about this, even though we literally see their fucking corpses and the characters are confirmed as dead. There's still people who are like, but maybe Phil's okay. Maybe he's okay, no? People are really grasping at straws at this point too. People are like, well, that doesn't really look like them. Yeah, it's a rotting corpse that's been floating in sewer water for like a month. Of course it doesn't look like them, but also on like a real note, from like a real life perspective, it's because they're dummies. They obviously don't look that much like real people. It's a dummy. I kind of had a hunch that something was up for sure when Maddie first showed up. I think all of us did, even the people who wanted to believe that they were alive, because there's just something strange about how long he was gone for, and the fact that he just randomly turns up in that clubhouse. Like, they would have probably found him there sooner. They had been coming to that clubhouse consistently ever since he had disappeared. They would have definitely seen his ass there if he was hiding out in the clubhouse. The kid was also just like super pale and had long hair, which it kind of seems like one of those things where it's like, oh, he's just sickly for living on his own for so long. But like, he would have been like way skinnier probably, and fucking too hungry to go down in the sewers. But just the things that he was talking about too were suspicious. The fact that he was acting like it was holding him captive was strange, because like I talked about in my last video, it doesn't actually have any reason to keep kids alive. The only reason it did that with Bev was to hurt the strength of the loser group and try to lure them into the sewers so he could kill them while Bev was still in her little dead-like coma or whatever. That's not something that he just does in general, though. I think people have a false impression that that's just like what it does as a creature because it happened to Bev that one time. Maybe the movies aren't as clear as the book is. The kids are fucking dead. Every kid you see in the sewer that's floating up in the air, they're not in like a trance state. They're fucking dead. It doesn't have any reason to keep them alive. In fact, half the time, it doesn't even take them into the sewer in the novel. It will just eat you out in public and then leave your fucking chewed up corpse laying on the ground. It does not spare children. It does not have any reason to keep them alive. It doesn't get more out of them by keeping them alive. it scares them, it kills them, it moves on. But also Maddie says that it feasts during the day and comes out at night or something, and that immediately put me off because that's just not fucking true, Maddie. You're just lying. Not only has it made its presence very known in the daytime on many occasions, but in fact that's often when it seems to come out. Half of the fucking scary things that have happened in this show have been during the daytime. I was just so glad that I was fucking right in the end about all those kids being dead, and that the people who were straight up trying to gaslight everybody else into thinking that they were still alive need to fucking chill. Anyway, another complaint I've been seeing since the beginning of the show, and I just haven't really addressed it yet, is people's beef with the military subplot. People say it's boring, it's less interesting, that they don't pay attention. That's probably why you think it's boring, because you're not paying any attention to what's going on here, and that's also probably why you're confused at other points in the show. I also usually don't really like the inclusion of like some kind of military subplot and stuff like this either. Usually it feels a lot less interesting and lazy, and granted, it definitely isn't as interesting as the main story a lot of the time. But you cannot tell me that it's not necessary, because if you think it's not necessary, then you just have not been paying enough attention to the show. It's 1960s, we are amidst the Cold War, we have characters who grew up in Derry who are now in the military who remember this shit. You have Dick fucking Halloran, one of the most important and recognizable Stephen King characters in any of his fucking books. We're getting to see a whole side of him that we've never really seen before, one that's more angry and unsure of himself. We all kind of know him as like the good advice giving grandpa guy, but we haven't really ever seen what it took Dick to get to that point. But yeah, the military subplot is not bad, and in fact it actually works really well as like a catalyst to move the story forward, and also it brings all these different perspectives and narratives together in one big mixing pot. You have the perspective of like the kids, and then you have the perspective of like the native tribe, but then in the middle you have the military that kind of bring both of these things together. Without the inclusion of this plot line, the story would not flow nearly as well as it does, and that's one of my favorite things about this show so far, and one of my favorite things about the It movies in general is that they are paced very well. Even It Chapter 2, which is like almost 3 hours long and kind of bloated at points, is still paced surprisingly well for how long it is. Another thing that people seem to be upset about is that we're not getting enough Pennywise content, is what they say. But in the last 2 episodes at this point, we definitely have, and we've gotten some of the most eerie and creepy Pennywise footage in this entire series. Not just like this TV show series, I mean like the movies included. He is really going at it in this one. I can't remember if I talked about this in my first one or not, but Andy Muschietti and the writers have talked about this before, but the reason you're not really seeing Pennywise as much in this show, I mean, for one, Bill Skarsgård is a much more busy actor than he used to be, so they have to use his time wisely. But 2, they made it very clear that they don't want to overuse Pennywise the clown in this one, which I think is very smart. The audience have gotten so used to seeing the clown that it's not really like a scary thing anymore, you know? It's just kind of like, hey, Pennywise. So if they use him sparingly and they really build up the suspense to his first arrival in this show, then it feels a lot more impactful, you know what I mean? And I think it definitely did. And them experimenting so much with its different identities that it can take on, and the fact that it is a shapeshifter at the end of the day in this show has been so nice, and it's a breath of fresh air, because after reading the book, it feels so much more like the book in that sense. A lot of the time in the novel, you don't really see the clown, you know? It kind of just immediately goes for what the characters are scared of, and I don't think a lot of people seem to know that. Again, like I said before, it's fine to not have read this book. It's long as fuck, and it's weird as shit at points. There's definitely problems with it, but I feel like a lot of people like to use it to back their arguments when they haven't even read the book.
Where's Bill Skarsgård? Where's Pennywise? What is this show? What is it supposed to be? Okay, this isn't a horror show. This is like a drama. It's like a period piece drama is what this is.
I fucking hate when people say this in any context, not let alone just this one. Like, well, when something has more dramatic elements or something has more comedic elements, suddenly it's not horror anymore, right? Because horror can only be the one fucking standard thing, of course. Also, dude, it's a horror drama. Like, you know that things can be more than one genre at once, right? You don't have to just fucking pick one. And of course it has drama elements. Of course it does. You should not be surprised by this if you know this novel at all. You don't even have to have read it to know that a lot of this fucking huge-ass novel is dedicated entirely to character drama and the town in general. It's not just all about monsters.
Episode 1, ripped, locked in, had me going. Episode 2, fine, not great. Episode 3, you're losing me. Episode 4, I'm gone. I'm fucking out the door. I'm on a plane to a different continent. What are we doing?
Yeah, good, dude. Go fucking go for it. I don't have to hear these complaints anymore if you go watch a different fucking show. And guess what? No one's forcing you to watch it.
I love It, chapters 1 and 2. The original 1990 It, y'all know my opinions on it, I'm sure.
Why the fuck would I know? Why the fuck would I know that? Is that what I sound like too when I do that sometimes? I'm like, oh, you guys see my last video? Like, nobody has.
Not a good movie. Or miniseries or whatever you want to call it.
That was awfully aggressive for no reason. It is literally a miniseries. Miniseries.
This TV show was going to...
You got it, come on.
Episode 2, nothing happens really. Episode 3, nothing happens really. The one cool scene that did happen, not that long.
See, that's exactly what I was just talking about. If you think that nothing happened in episode 3, then you're not fucking paying enough attention to this show, and you don't get what the point of it is. The point of it isn't just, big scary monsters coming after us. There's a lot of fucking layers to this shit. The town is damn near a character, the people in it, it's a big commentary on small towns and the shit that just goes unspoken in them in general. It's not just about fucking monsters, dude. And there's a reason that in those first few episodes there's only a few different scary scenes. Is because it genuinely builds tension every time that it's not happening. You're like, fuck, when is this thing gonna show up again? I think in general a lot of the way that this show handles its horror is in response to some of the criticism that the movies got in the past. I personally really love It Chapter 2, but there's a lot of criticism against that movie, and some of it's pretty fucking valid. A lot of people pointed out that every scene in that movie is basically just someone goes in a room, they think there's something scary is going to be behind the thing, they move the thing, there's nothing scary behind it, thank God. They turn around, Pennywise is there. This whole show feels like they are intentionally trying not to fall back into that same repetitive pattern again that they did with the movies, but it helps the show stand on its own as something new and exciting that takes a familiar formula and actually changes it, which is what you need from something like this. If it was just the same group of kids but in the 60s and then Pennywise was bothering them, then this show would not be nearly as big of a hit as it is right now. Part of the reason it is so successful is because it is so different but yet so familiar at the same time.
They set up Pennywise in episode 3. I just finished episode 4. These episodes are an hour and like 20 minutes long.
No, the fuck they're not. Okay, you gotta, this is what I mean, you're straight up lying at this point now. No, they're not. Every episode has been around like the 56 minutes to maybe a little bit over an hour mark. There has not been a single one that is an hour and 20 minutes long. And you know that, you're just exaggerating and try to prove your point that this show is dragging its feet and wasting our time.
And I know what everybody's gonna say, dude, I know it now. Well, technically we did get Pennywise because he makes different forms of himself and he attacks people based off their fears. So technically it is Pennywise. No, it's not.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can say it in a mocking tone all you want to, but objectively speaking, that is literally how it works. Pennywise isn't the entity. It is. Pennywise is just like a fucking Fortnite skin that the dude likes to put on sometimes, basically.
I want Bill Skarsgård. That's what I want. Fuck the moose, okay? Fuck the big priest guy with the baby in his chest, okay? I want to see Bill Skarsgård doing Bill Skarsgård shit.
The big priest guy makes fucking sense. It makes perfect sense for him to turn into that when he's fighting a Native American tribe leader woman. That is what she is afraid of. Why the fuck would it just randomly turn into a clown when fighting a bunch of Native Americans? Like, why the fuck would that scare them? You need to think about this shit from a genuine writing perspective and not just what you want to see perspective. If it was Pennywise every single time, Pennywise would lose all of the fucking value he has as a character. People already aren't scared of this motherfucker anymore. He is everywhere you look. The whole point of this show is that they want to make him scary again, and I think it has been fucking working. And before anyone says anything about it, no, I don't feel bad getting all angry and being kind of a dick to this guy, because I watched his video and I've looked at some of his comments. This guy is like super fucking immature. He cannot handle people telling him he's wrong. He gets extremely fucking mad when people disagree with him. Like, just look at some of these comments. Somebody mentions right here, the obvious thing. I know it's obvious, but like, you seem to be ignoring it in your main video, so they had to mention it. Pennywise isn't its only form. The kids aren't just scared of this random clown yet, so why would it turn into that? First thing it goes for in the book, and in the fucking series is what you're personally scared of, because that's what makes sense for it to do. Oh, really? I had no idea that's what it does. They aren't scared of clowns, that's why he hasn't turned into Pennywise yet. I don't know if that's true, but that's actually a pretty valid answer to make, because it is the 60s, and people weren't really scared of clowns. Oh no, so he says you're wrong, sorry. I guess you're wrong. Dog, Pennywise shapeshift to many things in a clown. Read the book and see. Oh really? I had no idea that's what he does. 4 episodes. No interesting characters. Not true. No plot lines worth anything. Absolutely not true. And no Bill? What's the point? Why are you even watching at this fucking point, honestly? I could try to argue with you, but you have your mind made up, clearly. And anytime someone tries to argue with them, you speak to them like they're a brain-dead child. Dog, you're not watching the new trailer. 4 episodes in and you want me to watch a trailer because he might be in the 5th? Calm down. Fucking Jesus Christ, dude. You're like 30 years old. Stop screaming at people in your comment section. Just ignore them like everyone else does. It ain't that serious. It's a character. Imagine Star Wars without Darth Vader. It would be a pointless movie. Wait, I don't have to imagine. I think a majority of Star Wars movies and shows at this point don't have Darth Vader in them. Imagine Star Wars without Glub Shitto. What would even be the point? Like, of all the examples you could have picked, you picked the one that is literally that. Dude, he is not in all Star Wars. There's plenty of good Star Wars that doesn't have Darth Vader in it at all. Fucking Andor, people love that shit. Is Darth Vader in it? No. Why does everybody associate it with the book and the movies and the show with Pennywise? Because you don't find out it isn't Pennywise until the last 20 pages of the book or the last 30 minutes of the movie. So yeah, to knowledge of everybody, including people who are fans of this stuff, you watch it for Pennywise and I'm like, no, actually, you're fucking proving that you don't understand this shit. I'm pretty fucking sick of people using the book as an example in their arguments when they clearly haven't read it yet. Again, it's fine to not have read this 11 fucking 100-page long book before. I get it. It's long, there's a lot of bullshit, it's the most cocaine-filled story you've ever read. But don't suddenly act like you understand everything about it, or you have read the book when it suits your fucking point, because you're just proving yourself wrong here by doing that. Because if you had read the book, then you would know a lot of the time it doesn't show itself as Pennywise at all. With this one kid named Eddie, it appears to him as his dead brother who was beaten to death by his stepdad, and then as he goes to run out of the park that he sees this shit in, it turns into the creature from the Black Lagoon and chases him down and kills him that way. Not once in this entire scene is a clown mentioned. Bev sees a bunch of blood and balloons and shit in her sink. Not once does the clown just randomly show up in this scene. When they go to the house on Niebel Street and they go to try to kill it, not once in this entire long-ass section of the book that goes on for like a very long chapter does he turn into the clown. Not once. When he does show themselves in Niebel in the book, it is as the teen wolf. At one point when Ben's a kid, he does briefly appear as a clown before very shortly turning into the mummy, but wearing a clown costume. He doesn't really use the clown all that much to just scare people on its own. It's more just like a base thing that gets people's attention because it's so uncanny and out of nowhere you're like, what the fuck is that clown doing here? Hey, why is that clown a fish person now? I don't know where you're getting this idea from that it is always Pennywise and that Pennywise is what we should expect every single time. Like I said earlier, it makes more sense for him to appear as different things in this show because that's actually more accurate to the book. The reason that Pennywise is so iconic with the imagery of it in general is because a clown is interesting imagery for horror, and the movies and even kind of the 1990 miniseries likes to use the clown a lot more than the book did. Like, the clown will still be, those scenes are still accurate, the clown does show up in a lot of those scenes, but certain things are completely changed, like when he attacks him in Niebel Street in the movie and he's Pennywise. Like I said, not how it goes in the book. And here he is again, making the exact same point. It is Pennywise. The entire book/movie is about being it. Wait, what? The entire book/movies is about the being it being Pennywise. What? Why did he word it this way? It's about the being it being Pennywise and using fear. Hey man, read a book. Pick up a goddamn book for once in your life because you're making yourself look like a fucking idiot. And again, I don't feel bad at all for being kind of a dick right now because this dude is already a dick to everybody in his comment section, even when they're being kind of fucking nice to him. So I don't know, dude, grow up. Thanks for listening to me rant. If you enjoyed what you saw here, please like the video and subscribe. That'd be pretty sick. I got 2 big videos coming out soon that I gotta get to work on, like I said. They're both gonna be kind of long and they're both gonna be a lot of fun, so please check those out when they're done. Yeah, I hope the ending of it is good.